fees ever. United, the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. Does not include basic economy unless a United waiver applies. Exceptions apply for certain international flights.
CarMax's unmatched money-back guarantee gives you 30 days to fall in love with your car. And you know what that means.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding 30. 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 Trying to catch me riding 30.
CarMax 30-day money-back guarantee. That's car buying reimagined. Only from CarMax. Up to 1,500 miles. See CarMax.com for details.
Riding 30. Trying to catch me riding 30.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message from Sarah.
Hi, Jake from State Farm. I eat hard-boiled eggs, like shell and all. The crunch is exquisite.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
The reigning 2022 champions are back in action, and NBC Sports Bay Area has you covered every step of the season. Catch Warriors pre- and post-game live an hour before and following each game, hosted by Bonte Hill with analysts and former Warriors Chris Mullen and Festus Ezeli. And get your Warriors news all week long on the Dubs Talk podcast with Carrot Burke and Monty Poole, featuring special guests and in-depth analysis. Authentic moments live here, only on NBC Sports Bay Area.
You've been listening to the Golden State Warriors Audio Network.
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM in HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Curry will fire it away with 5, and he hit it. Falling away. Gordon right there. Nothing he could do about this. Shot it sideways.
Yeah, he shot it from his waist. And that would do it for the Rockets. Night-night on the Steph Curry fadeaway three. Warriors win finally on the road. 127-120 is the final as they get the job done in Houston. We welcome you inside here to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. Much to discuss here on Warriors Wrap Up as the Warriors finally get that first road win of the season, and Klay Thompson goes off in this game. 36 minutes for Klay. He had 20 of his 41 points in the first quarter. He started the game 6 for 6 shooting the basketball. He ended up making 10 of 13 from 3. And the Warriors needed every one of them, really, to hold off the Rockets after building an 18-point lead in the first half that wound up getting flipped into a 9-point Rockets lead. So there was a 27-point swing at one point in this game from the Warriors being up 18 to trailing in the second quarter by as many as 9. But a lot to like, and I talked about it on the pregame on Warriors Live at around 3 o'clock this afternoon, about an hour before tip-off, and said, hey, it doesn't matter how it looks for the Warriors tonight. It doesn't matter if at times it's a struggle. It doesn't matter if you got to win ugly. It doesn't matter if you got to make 23s, or in this case for the Warriors, 24 threes. A win is a win is a win is a win, and there were no excuses to be made for the Warriors coming up short. They had been in positions similar to the one they found themselves in for the ball game tonight in Charlotte and Miami and Orlando and even in Sacramento going back a week ago tonight, and the Warriors came up as an offer in each of those games. So once it was a one-possession game in the final 6 minutes or so, to see the Warriors finally be able to figure out a way to get it done regardless of how they had to do it, and they had to do it with a 74-point performance from the Splash Brothers. They needed every bit of it, and they got the win to get themselves now closer to that 500 mark at 8-9. So they're a game away from 500 after just, a couple of weeks ago, dipping all the way down to 3-7 after that 0-5 road trip. So road win number one, I think everybody would have expected that it would have occurred prior to November the 20th, but November the 20th it is, and the Warriors now find themselves with that 1-8 road record to go with the 7-1 home record, and a game now within 500 and starting to get things maybe a little bit back on track as they have won 5 of the last 7 since that road trip that they came off of a couple of weekends ago. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here as the Warriors win this one. And look, we started off with Klay Thompson, and that's 2 consecutive games where Klay Thompson looked more like Klay Thompson. And to me, it wasn't as simple as, hey, Klay was making shots. This started the other night, and this started with really what we talked about a lot on Warriors Wrap-Up after the Phoenix game. Klay Thompson needed to make a change. Klay Thompson needed to get more committed to the team and taking the right shot, and if the right shot wasn't there, keeping the ball moving, and he did that in the game against the Knicks on Friday night. And I think it got him to a point where he was playing the game the right way, and it got him in a rhythm, and it got the team in a rhythm. So his shots now are instead of taking the team out of the rhythm of what they're trying to accomplish offensively, they're within the rhythm and the framework. And that's how he can function and get his, and even take a couple of heat checks here or there. I have no problem with a heat check or two if you're making them early. The problem has become that it's almost been the opposite for Klay Thompson in the early part of this season, where he would miss a couple and take a few more for each miss in an attempt to try and get himself back on track, almost like he was chasing the kind of game that he had tonight with every single shot in every single one of these games. So I don't know whether it was Draymond Green, who had some pretty abrupt comments in his post-game press conference tonight where he, in a roundabout way, said that he pretty much put Klay Thompson on blast Friday in saying, hey, you're a little bit more focused on yourself right now than the team. You're a competitive dude. Get back to focusing on the team, and it's going to get your individual game back to where you want it to be. And I think that's been the change. Klay Thompson deserves credit for making the change with his game over the last 2 games, and the positive results have followed. And look, I said it on the podcast that I do each and every week, our Warriors Weekly podcast for 95.7 The Game that dropped on Friday, that Klay Thompson's probably got a 40-point game in him soon. The question is going to become, and tonight's not necessarily the night for it, but the question will be, how many of those is he going to have in comparison to the past? Because I still believe it's probably going to be fewer than it has been in the past, but there are ways that Klay Thompson can function and help this basketball team playing the way that he did on Friday night. And I think playing the way that he did on Friday night and taking better shots and looking to put the ball on the floor a little bit and get rid of it in an attempt to get it back in the context of the offense, that sort of thing is going to lead to where he will have more games like Friday, and the Warriors can win a lot of games if he plays like he did on Friday. So I also think the games like tonight are going to come if you relax and you play the way that he did on Friday. And I thought tonight was an extension of that, just a better rhythm in this ball game. And he comes out hot. And you know what, Klay? If you're hot and you're 6 for 6, then take a couple of heat checks. And I thought Klay Thompson rebounded nicely tonight from the 6 for 6, but then he made one of his next 7 at that point. So he was 6 for 6, and then he was 7 for 13, and he wound up 7 for 10 to close it out. So he was really hot at the start. He was really hot down the stretch. He did have one heat check 3, I think, when the Warriors were up 6. That maybe you wouldn't want to take. But look, if you're making them at the level that Klay Thompson was making them tonight, then I don't think anybody really is gonna mind a heat check here or there. The problem becomes when you're not making them on the nights and you're chasing your misses with more shots that are out of the context of the offense. So great night for Klay Thompson, building block for Klay Thompson over these last 2 games, all positive there. But again, he gets credit for not putting his head down and doing things the same way. It's for taking a deep breath and realizing that he needed to go about things a different way as he works himself into a rhythm. Hey, don't sleep on Steph Curry tonight. 33 points, 15 assists, and 6 rebounds, including the dagger 3 to put the Rockets to bed that we mentioned right off the top and played the highlight of right off the top of the show. The Warriors really using their shooting and their skill and their ball movement. 38 assists on 46 field goals made. Steph Curry really setting the tone, I thought, with a lot of that tonight in the 15 assists to go with the, 7 of 14 from three-point range on his own right. 17 for 27 for the Splash Brothers from 3. You're going to win a lot of games if you're going to do that. Overcoming an athleticism disadvantage that was on display at times and overcoming a bench group that still was a problem for the Warriors in this game, in particular in the first half. I think you have to give Steve Kerr credit for making an adjustment, again going away from Jonathan Kuminga, who was awful in the first half. He also tweaked things. It was Looney and Kuminga and Lamb in the first half. That was the front line at the start of the second quarter. Start of the fourth quarter, Steve Kerr went to Draymond Green along with JaMychal Green, and Moses Moody got minutes over Anthony Lamb. So Draymond and JaMychal Green out there instead of Kuminga and Looney, and then Moody got the minutes that Anthony Lamb got in the first half. So rough nights for Lamb and Kuminga, but Steve Kerr adjusting the rotation to where that group didn't wreck what the starters had done in putting the Warriors back in front going into that fourth quarter. So a lot to get to between now here and the end of the program over the course of the next hour. Let's get it rolling, though, on the phone lines at 888-957-9570 with Fred in Richmond up first here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Fred?
Hey, what's going on, man? Appreciate the call. I just wanted to give a shout-out to Klay. He looked very, very comfortable tonight. And as far as the media is concerned, I could just imagine everybody tomorrow on all their talk shows, Klay is back, Klay is back. Klay never left. He didn't have a training camp. He's got his legs under him. And I can't wait for the game against the Clippers on Wednesday because I'm pretty sure he won't play tomorrow. And I just want him to continue to roll. If Jordan Poole can come out his slump tomorrow and over the next couple of games, the Warriors will be at 3rd or 4th seed within a week and a half. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate the call. We don't know. Here's the reality. We don't know if Klay is back or not. Because Klay being back means he's going to be able to have games like tonight with some semi-regularity the way that he used to. And I think we don't know the answer to that question, to be honest. So to say he never left, I mean, yeah, he didn't play basketball for 2 years. So he did leave. And he did come back, and he worked himself into form to where he could help the Warriors win a championship last year. The offseason has been well chronicled, and the fact that he didn't do much and the reasons why he didn't do much and being out of rhythm. But I think the last 2 games offer some real positive signs that maybe things are getting back on a different track for Klay Thompson. But again, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it over and over. Klay Thompson has made an adjustment over these last 2 games to get himself back on track. This is not the same bullheaded Klay Thompson that we saw in Phoenix on Wednesday night where his teammates were shaking their head at the shots that he was taking. We can't get it twisted. We can't revise history. We can't act just because Klay Thompson has an old Klay Thompson kind of a game tonight as if the rest of what was going on throughout the course of this season wasn't real, or tonight was what is real and the rest of it is all fake. It's all part of the equation here. So you give Klay credit. You hope that it is something that he can continue to build upon. And look, forget about tonight, because tonight's an outlier in the positive. If he can limit how bad some of the bad games have been and turn those games closer to games like the game on Friday night, then he is going to be just fine. And the Warriors, while he may not be what he was 4 or 5 years ago, who cares at that point? Because he'll still be able to help this team win a lot of basketball games and get back to a point where maybe they can be competing for a top half seed in the Western Conference playoffs, and then you see how things shake out from there. 888-957-9570. Matt in North Oakland next here on 95.7 The Game. What's going on, Matt?
Hey, what's up? Thanks so much for taking my call. I just wanted to say this team, until tonight, this iteration of this team has never seen, quote-unquote, vintage Klay, the hot hand. And I believe as these floodgates open, as the man himself said, I believe on Twitter, as he becomes a patient player again, we're going to see good things and larger leads. I think his offense has been, probably their number 2 issue, his lack of offense, rather, behind the overall defense. But I was so encouraged when I saw him third. He grabbed his own rebound, kicked it out to Wiggins for 3. I mean, it was beautiful. He had a few boards, few assists, couple steals. We don't need this guy to be the defensive Klay he was before. If we see this Klay all the time, even with the scoring cut in half, this team's going places. So that's what I got to say. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, appreciate the call. 888-957-9570. Matt in North Oakland checking in here on 95.7 The Game. It's great to see. And look, the Warriors needed it tonight. I mean, I wanted to skew positive on this thing tonight. But there is another way of looking at this win and saying, well, damn, the Warriors made 24 threes and Steph and Klay went for 74 and Wiggins hit 6 threes himself. Haven't even mentioned him yet. 22 points. Second straight game where they go for 20 or more. All 3 of them, Steph and Klay and Wiggins. And yet here they are right there down the stretch in a 1-possession game against the worst team in the Western Conference. A team that's now sitting there at 3-14 on this young season. So you need to get the win first, and the Warriors hadn't been able to taste a road victory yet at any point this season. So I think the fact that they were able to find a way to get the job done for tonight is more important than the rest of it, because they needed to just get that box checked and move on to the next. But there is a part of me that thought, man, the Warriors needed a lot of things to go right offensively to mitigate some of the athletic disadvantages that they had in comparison to a young team like the Rockets. And I do think it is a little concerning that this game was so similar to the Sacramento game and the Orlando game and the Charlotte game and a lot of these games on the road that the Warriors wound up losing, just in that it's such a slog and they had to play so well, and they played by far offensively better tonight than they did in any of those games. And they needed all of that just to be able to eke out the win down the stretch with some better defense and I think more forceful rebounding and the like in that fourth quarter. 888-957-9570, the Xfinity mobile text line open as well as a couple of phone lines. Let's get to Jacob next here on Warriors Wrap-Up with JD on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, Jacob?
Look, all I would like to say is that second quarter was terrible. It was atrocious. It was not good. But like you were saying earlier, Andrew Wiggins, very, very underrated. I believe he's the Andre Iguodala of this iteration of basketball. Klay Thompson, a lot of people have given him praise. I wanted to give him praise, but too many people have given him praise before. He was amazing tonight. And I'm tired of people giving him so much slack. Dude, he's coming off 2.5 years of not being able to play basketball. And he hasn't even had a full season to show who he is, you know? And what he did tonight was absolutely amazing. It was immaculate. And just the way we were able to carry out the game, we had a very good start to the game. First quarter was very, very good. We let the Rockets into the game. In the second quarter, we played terrible, and we ended up carrying out the win. It was real nice. It was good to see. It was good to see us, you know, weather the storm, weather the fire, and finally get that first road win.
Thanks, Jacob. The issue with Klay Thompson has not been the results. And look, I came after him pretty good. You know, a couple of people on the text line said, man, JD, you were all over Klay Thompson on Wednesday night in Phoenix. And I was. And part of the reason I was because you could see that his teammates were frustrated with the fact that his own game and getting himself going and almost hunting a game like tonight by taking everybody else out of the offense and putting the defense in bad positions, it was ticking people off. I mean, you had players visibly shaking their heads at some of the shots that he was taking. My issue, though, with Klay was never about the results per se. It was about the process. It was about the fact that he was taking the bad shots. It was the fact that he was clearly playing selfishly and didn't care that he was playing selfishly, because essentially he was saying, I'm Klay Thompson, I'm that good. It doesn't matter. I'm going to get mine. And I think the adjustment, and we'll see how long it lasts, but I think so far you can have an adjustment where you're still shooting it a ton. Because I think you look at tonight, I mean, Klay Thompson took more shots than anybody on the floor tonight at 23, but it didn't feel like those shots were forces for the most part. Maybe a couple of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them. But again, when you're making shots and you're hot, you get the leeway. You get to take a couple shots that are so-called heat check shots. Now, if Klay Thompson had come out and he had been 2 for 6 at the start, and he kept jacking, and he was missing to the point where he took 23 shots, but he was only making 8 or 9 of them, then we would have a problem at that point. But that's not what he did, and he set the tone for himself, which I think set the tone for the rest of this team with the way that he tried to play on Friday night. And I think he deserves a lot of credit for it. And if Draymond came after him in this team meeting on Friday, then I think Draymond deserves a lot of credit for it, because Klay took it to heart. And that brings up another thing that's been questioned and discussed, and that is the nature of, does Draymond Green's voice still carry weight in the Warriors locker room after what happened with the punch of Jordan Poole? And let me tell you something. If Draymond was able to tell Klay that Klay was a little out of pocket with the way he was playing, and Klay made the adjustment, then that tells you absolutely 100% that Draymond Green's voice still carries weight in the Warriors locker room. And if it carries weight for a future Hall of Famer like Klay Thompson, it should carry weight for some of the other younger players on this roster. Remains to be seen how that plays out. Younger players are not veterans. There's a mix that the Warriors are trying to blend. But I think the fact that Klay was receptive to making those changes is also an indicator that maybe Draymond's clout in that locker room is one of a little bit more respect here, certainly than it was 4 to 6 weeks ago. 888-957-9570. Robin in San Francisco. Hey, Robin. How you doing tonight?
Hi, JD. I usually take, these losses and everything with a grain of salt, and, try to be level-headed. But I have to admit, tonight I was like, I guess a little bit of you, because, I listen to you all the time and call in on Saturdays. I was like, boy, JD's right. If they don't win, I was getting mad, JD, when they was down. I was actually getting mad for the first time the whole season, right? I was like, you bunch of scrubs, you bums. Oh, my God. So anyway, I just pulled it out. But I want to say this, and I don't want to be negative. I like your insight on this. So I believe, like, all those, you just called out, 74 points, I guess, between, amongst Steph and them, and, Wiggins' contribution, and offensively the contribution from, the known players. But the defense is the reason why I think that other, they were shooting well too, but the defense, in particular the transition defense, like not closing your man out, just little small things like that, I think, besides the athleticism, is why they got back into the game. So I would like for you to share your insight with me about why was they fouling so much? Is it because they were getting beat off the dribble? Is it because they weren't quick? Is it their age? I mean, help me out here. Thanks a lot.
Yes, and yes, Robin. It is the athletic, and really, you could make the case, and I don't want to disparage the Rockets. I mean, they do have some young, talented players on their team. I mean, I think Jabari Smith's going to be a nice player in the league. I think Jalen Green's going to be a nice player in the league. Kevin Porter has shown that he can do some things in this league. Şengün is somebody that didn't play great tonight. I think Kevon Looney probably deserves some credit for that. Only 4 points in 23 minutes as they're starting big. But I think the one thing the Rockets do have in their bag of tricks is the ability to get out in transition and defend and try and steal the ball and try and make it an up and down tempo game to where you can get rebounds and second chance shots and deflections and different things like that. And move forward in that kind of vein. And I think the Warriors are a step slow at times and less athletic than certain teams. And I think the age is part of it. I think poor positioning is part of it. And so you really saw when the Warriors got off to the big lead, the 18-point lead and the 40-28 lead at the end of the first quarter, the game also flipped when the bench group came in. And, the second quarter was awful, but it was like we had seen so many different times in the early part of the season. It was any combination of bench and a starter or two when Curry's out of the game, and the Warriors have had this thing snowball on them pretty fast, and it snowballed on them tonight. It was Jordan Poole with Dante DiVincenzo, Anthony Lamb, Jonathan Kuminga, and Kevon Looney at the beginning of the quarter, and things immediately flipped. And we've seen things flip to the point where even when the starters come back into the game, the Warriors starters are unable to turn the tide in short order. So yeah, the 18-point lead was turned quickly into the 9-point deficit, and they were fouling too much. I thought the Warriors did salvage the end of the first half to the point where they were only down 5. Klay Thompson knocked down a couple of shots after he made the first 6, and then he was 1 for 7 after that, knocked down 2 threes going into halftime, which helped it not be worse for the Warriors, and he ended up with 26 of the 41 in the first half tonight. But the 2 that he hit there at the back end of the second quarter were key. You got to give Steve Kerr credit for making the adjustment. He went away from Anthony Lamb. He went away from Kuminga. He played Draymond Green and JaMychal Green together, and he gave Moses Moody a little bit of run, I think because Lamb and Kuminga were both so ineffective, and that helped in the second half stem the tide to where the Warriors, I think, were a -2 in the minutes where Curry was out of the game, and he staggered it to try and get the veterans as much playing time as possible to guide them to the victory in this one. And they were able to do it, and they still needed a whole heck of a lot of shot making down the stretch to be able to finish the deal. 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson, Warriors wrap-up here on 95.7 The Game. Warriors win tonight for the first time on the road, 127-120. Let's get to Enoch in Connecticut joining me here on Warriors wrap-up. What's going on tonight, Enoch?
Oh, what's up, guys? I just wanted to come on here and say how good Klay was tonight. I'm just hoping that after these games, Klay will be able to keep the momentum for the rest of the season. And hopefully this first road win, gives them the momentum to keep winning more road games.
Thanks for the call. good phone call. Don't make it your last here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570. We're going to hear from Steve Kerr. We're going to hear from Draymond Green. We're also going to hear from Klay Thompson between now and 8 o'clock as the Warriors do get that first road win. And what does that road win do as far as the standings? Just looking at the Western Conference standings right now. So the Warriors are a half game out now of the play-in tournament. So they were 3-7. They'd been, I think, as low as 13 in the West with only the Lakers and Rockets. They're slowly inching their way up here in the Western Conference, but now only a half game out of 10th. Warriors are only, 2 games out of 6th right now, and it's all jumbled up. The best team in the Western Conference right now, and there are 5 teams right now in the Western Conference that all have 6 losses, and those teams are all the best 5 teams record-wise in the West right now. So you're 3 out in the loss column, and it's really been split up. As far as, no dominant teams, and the 2 teams that really started off as hot as anybody, Utah and Portland, were unexpected. Those 2 teams were probably projected to be in the bottom 5, at least in the bottom 6 or 7 of the Western Conference, bottom half, let's say, of the Western Conference. So the Warriors right now are skating a little bit with this bad start as they start to play better and winning 5 of the last 7. Only 3.5 out of even the top spot overall. So it is still early, but there's a major difference between making sure you get a win like tonight and being 8-9 and what it would look like if they had dropped maybe tonight's game and a couple of other ones, or even another 1 or 2 at home. So they're getting things on track, and now you can start to see it really is all jumbled up between a group of really, I would say, probably 11 teams right now that are all can make a case that they could really be in any position when it's all said and done in the Western Conference. So let's keep it rolling on the phone lines here before we pause. Adam in San Jose next on Warriors Wrap Up. What's going on, Adam?
What's up, JD? Hello?
I got you loud and clear, Adam. Go for it.
Hey, JD, how you doing, man? I'm just really concerned about this defense, man. At this point, I think the only issue is losing Mike Brown. And that's something no one's talking about. That's something we keep blaming Poole and Kuminga, and none of these guys can play defense, which is still the case. But the biggest loss was Mike Brown. We need to fire Kenny Atkinson if he's the one that replaced Mike Brown and get a real defensive-minded coach here to be Kerr's assistant. Because obviously he's not preaching anything in practice, and we're just getting our butts handed to us out there. It's ridiculous. Poole keeps getting blown by. Thompson did a better job staying in front of his defenders, but Thompson is still not the best defender. Draymond and Loon, fouling machines. All they do is foul. I really think we need to take a look at this assistant coach position and maybe replace Kenny Atkinson and bring someone that has the same mindset as Mike Brown.
Yeah, and look, Mike Brown went up to Sacramento, and the Kings won again. They beat Detroit this afternoon in Sacramento, so they've won 6 in a row after they were 3-6. Just to give Warrior fans a little perspective, the night that Klay Thompson fouled Kevin Huerter and it wasn't called, the Kings were 3-6. They haven't lost since in the last 2 weeks. They've won 6 consecutive games since that one. They're 9-6. They are still one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. They're scoring at an unbelievable level. They won 137-129 against the Pistons this afternoon in Sacramento. And Chris DeMarco has been the one that's taken over the bulk of the defensive responsibilities as well. I think it's more on the players right now than it is on the scheme, to be perfectly honest. And they lost Gary Payton II. They lost Otto Porter, who was a solid, steady vet. They were doing some things that were team specific last year, or opponent specific last year, I think, to get the defense on track. But I just think the veterans did not come in committed to playing defense on a night in, night out basis, and part of that is straight up championship hangover. But when you intend to do that, and you're a little bit slow because you're a little bit older, and your bench isn't good because the young players can't stabilize games for you in certain ways, or things get worse when they're in the game, then you got to play that much better when the starters are in the game. So I think that it's been a snowball effect where the starters have kind of tried to coast defensively. There's been some bad shots, which have hurt the transition defense. They're a step slow, I think, getting off the jump as far as fouling, and then that leads to breakdowns, and the whole thing just becomes a mess. So I would tell you if I didn't think so, but I think for now, it's more on the players than the coaching, but we'll keep an eye on it as we move forward here. 888-957-9570. Couple of lines open here as we keep things rolling. We'll pause, though, right now. Warriors beat the Rockets 127-120, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
What's worse than calling your groin your junk? Treating it like junk. Respect your pubic region with Gillette Intimate. Gentle and easy pubic hair care from America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. Gillette. The best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for calling Navy Federal Credit Union. How can I help you?
Hi, if I'm in the Army, not in the Navy, am I still eligible for membership?
Yes, you are.
What about my sister in the Air Force?
Her too.
And my dad's a Marine.
We serve all branches of the military, veterans, and their families.
My dog is a retired military working dog.
I'll see what I can do.
Find out if you're eligible at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Insured by NCUA.
Festivals, football, flannels. Some say fall is their favorite time of year. And this fall, there are now updated COVID-19 booster shots designed to help protect against COVID-19 variants. If you've had your primary series, schedule an updated COVID-19 booster shot appointment as soon as you're eligible. And don't forget to enjoy the foliage. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
With energy bills as high as they are, proper weatherproofing is essential. If you're working with a client to upgrade or build a new home, be sure to visit Golden State. They partner with respected brands such as Owens Corning, James Hardy, and Boral Siding. They're a great option for a comfortable home with lower energy bills. Start at GoldenStateLumber.com. Building better in the Bay Area since 1954. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Where do Black Friday deals come with happy holiday feels? Lowe's, actually. Save on holiday decor like 1-quart poinsettias was $2.98, now $1.98. And holiday living 100-count mini string lights was $3.98, now $2.98. Find unbeatable deals on top brands like a Craftsman 20-volt drill kit for $59, was $79. Black Friday is now. Get the deals while you can at Lowe's. Home to any possibility. Offers valid through 11/23. Poinsettia offer in-store only. Selection varies by location. Limited 8 per customer. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii while supplies last.
Alice at 97.3 is celebrating the return of Alice in Winterland. Friday, December 2nd at the SAP Center in San Jose. Starring John Mayer, One Republic.
See you at Alice in Winterland.
Kelsey Ballerini.
Matt Nathanson.
And Lizzie McAlpine. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster. Everything Winterland at RadioAlice.com.
Hi, I'm Aaron, owner of California Deluxe Windows. Ever notice? When your neighbors get new windows, there is a large black eye of broken stucco, uneven plaster, and even mismatched paint. At California Deluxe Windows, we never leave a ring around the window. Why? Because we are one of the only companies in California who custom crafts every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Almost everyone else on the radio is a distributor. They grab a window from a warehouse, break open your walls, shove it in, and patch things up. At California Deluxe Windows, we take pride in our work. Our installation technique is so precise, we do not break your stucco. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Call now, and for a limited time, you get 30% off your entire order and 24 months of interest-free financing. 800-874-3600. 800-874-3600. That's 800-874-3600. California Deluxe Windows. Windows engineered for life.
Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
New Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there. And even under there. Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Curry waiting. Throws right wing. Thompson launches. Buries a triple with 2.6 to go in the quarter. The Warriors lead by 3, 97-94.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, that three capped a 36-29 third quarter advantage for the Warriors, and they go on to win 127-120, outscoring the Rockets 30-26 in the fourth. John Dickinson with you here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. So the Warriors now 8-9 on the season as they get their first road win of 2022-23. They are now 1-8 away from Chase Center. Monster game from Klay Thompson. Really a legendary performance from Klay in this one as he goes for 41, 20 in the first quarter, 14 of 23 shooting, 10 of 13 from three, and the Warriors needed all of it along with just a spectacular Steph Curry game. Steph Curry's line was just amazing, and the 33 and the dagger three and the fade and night and all of that to finish this thing, but 15 assists. The Warriors had 38 assists on 46 made field goals, shot 53.5% for the game. Curry with 6 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 3 steals. So he was all over the place in this game tonight for the Warriors. Just absolutely tremendous. And because of what Klay Thompson was doing, you almost didn't realize how dominant a game Stephen Curry was having in this one as the two pair up to go for 74 combined. And then Andrew Wiggins pitched in 22 and 5 boards and knocked down 6 3-pointers. So you look at that, and it's 96 for the Warriors' top 3 scorers in Curry, Thompson, and Andrew Wiggins, and that's how they were able to prevail in this one. 888-957-9570. Let's go ahead and hear from the head coach, Steve Kerr, as he addressed the media at Toyota Center in Houston following this one.
The guys and their fellow players have to get the worst first road win of the season. How does it feel to finally get that done?
Well, long overdue, but, we were happy to get the win and did a lot of good things offensively, moved the ball beautifully, and then, kind of shot ourselves in the foot to let them get back in it. But I give Houston a lot of credit. They got a lot of young guys, and they're competing, and they battled to get back in the game. So just glad we were able to finally get a road win.
So it's been like the second quarter when the game was for you guys. In your eyes, what went wrong?
Well, we didn't execute, and on offense, and the defense suffered as a result. We were turning the ball over quite a bit and getting bad shots. Some of those just felt like we call them shot turnovers when you take a bad shot and all of a sudden you're compromised in transition and the other team's coming downhill at you. So the game got away from us there, but
our vets, I thought, came in, did a great job down the stretch to close the game. And second half was better. We changed the rotation up a little bit, put Draymond with the second unit to start the fourth quarter, which settled the group down a little bit. And so hopefully we can take this and try to get a little momentum.
Closing games has been a struggle for you guys on the road. How do you feel like your team responded to that early adversity?
No, they did a good job, and sometimes you just have to dig your way out of the hole, and that's what it felt like tonight. Defensively, after losing engagement in that game, second half we really had to fight, and I thought the fourth quarter we did a pretty good job defensively.
Klay posted on Instagram last week, promising his followers that the floodgates were going to open soon. I think he's shooting like 56% of the field over his last 2 games. Do you feel like that's starting to happen for him?
I hope his followers are happy with Klay promising that, and I hope there's a lot of good interaction between the followers and Klay, and that everybody can be really happy now.
I noticed about Mike Brandon Williams. He's kind of like the unsung hero for you guys. Do you get enough credit? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he was an all-star last year, and he got great recognition for doing what he did in the playoffs. And he's a world champion, and there's a reason we extended his contract, and we feel like Wiggs is a big part of the team right now and into the future. So he's really learned how to complement Steph and the group, and he knocked down some big shots for us tonight. He's going to play better too. I don't think his defense has been as good as it was last year, and I think he knows that. And I think it goes hand in hand with our team's overall defense. I think every single guy has to look in the mirror, and coaches too. We have to think about our schemes and possibly make some adjustments because we're giving up too many points.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he ended up shooting like a career best percentage from 3-point range and knocking on every handful of it. What's that attributed to?
He works really hard. He's gotten very comfortable in our game, and he's getting a lot of good looks from the corners where he's really effective from.
They think we're dead on the starter.
No, it was heavy night tonight, so the performance staff will get a good look at our guys and see if how they feel about tomorrow. But tough schedule flying across the country yesterday, and then back to back and flying home. So we'll have to get a good read on how our guys are doing.
All right, so a couple of things addressed there that had come up throughout the first 40 minutes or so that I've been on the air here. One, Steve Kerr really for the first time revealing there toward the end of that post-game press conference that there could be some potential for some defensive scheme adjustments. I know we had a caller that was really frustrated with the coaching and kind of wondering what was going on with Mike Brown moving on to Sacramento and who has taken over a lot of those responsibilities and things not necessarily clicking to this point in the season. That was the first time, and you look at tonight with there being so many different breakdowns at times and all of the fouling and all of that. So that Steve Kerr did address the fact that potentially there could be something as far as making some adjustments as to what they're trying to accomplish. And the other thing on the Xfinity mobile text line that came up was tomorrow and whether tomorrow is going to be a load management game. I would think it has the potential to be a load management game. You look at this stretch that the Warriors are involved in now, really going back to last Friday. But if you want to start it a week ago tonight in Sacramento, tonight would have been the 5th game in 8 nights. It extends out to 6 games in 10 nights, 7 and 11. So you're looking at 7 games in 11 nights. You're looking at 6 games in 9 nights over the course of going back to last Sunday night's game in Sacramento that the Warriors did lose to the Kings. So I think there is, unfortunately for the fans in New Orleans, a decent chance that the Warriors may rest some of the starters tomorrow and go with a load management game, go with a developmental game, which would allow some of the young players to get back into the fold and get a little bit more run. There also may be a scenario where the Warriors veterans say, hey, I want to play tomorrow and let's get after this and let's try and make a push and try and win a game tomorrow to get to 500. Now, if you do that, there's no guarantee you are necessarily going to win that game. And the Pelicans are a team that's playing pretty well here at the beginning of the season. Looking at them, 9-7, so they're right there at this point. 5-3 home, 4-4 on the road. So, but if you could somehow get tomorrow's game, you'd be feeling really good coming back home for the holiday and the couple of games here around Thanksgiving at 9 up and 9 down, considering you were 3-7 2 weeks ago. But Klay Thompson, he addressed it in his press conference. We'll hear from Klay momentarily, but it looks like he's not going to play in any I'd be stunned if he plays in back-to-backs this year. And so tonight things are going well. Take tomorrow night off. We'll see if Jordan Poole can get rolling a little bit, going back into the starting lineup. Does it become a full-blown developmental game? We'll see. Maybe this is one of those games where Steph and Draymond take the night off, and maybe Wiggins plays in the game, and Looney as well. So remains to be seen. But I would still bet look for around maybe 10, 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow as far as an injury report with the announcement of what the plan will be for the Warriors in that game tomorrow. Let's keep it rolling here. 888-957-9570. Warriors 127, Rockets 120. Let's hear from Draymond Green now as he met with the media at Toyota Center after the ball game.
Really kind of hurt the guys in the locker room. It sounded like a really fun environment. Their highs and lows. His first row run of the year. Obviously, it's long overdue. How's it going?
So it's good. We understood that we're 0-8 on the road or something. And in order to win big in this league, you got to win road games. So it's good to get that first one under your belt. Now we got to build on it.
Obviously, close guys in your first tries. What went right for you guys?
I think we continued to defend. We had lapses there in the game, but down the stretch, we were able to get stops. Thought there were a couple of loose balls we could have and should have came up with. But overall, we got stops, and then Klay and Steph hit shots. So it was beautiful.
Speaking of Klay, you told us after last game that you had a conversation like Friday morning or something like that. What have you seen in his game that's been different over these last two games since your conversation?
He's being Klay Thompson. He is not worried about what happens with Klay. He's worried about what happens with this team. And when Klay worries about what happens with this team, Klay plays great and we win. I've always said he's the most competitive guy that I've ever played with. And the most important thing to him has always been winning. At times, we all get away from who we are, and in a brotherhood, you need someone to bring you back to who you are. And I think, I have no doubt in my mind that if it was me, he'd do the same thing.
Draymond, what did you see from this Rockets team tonight? What advice would you have for them, knowing that you guys are once the young and up-and-coming team trying to build something?
Just stick with it, man. Practice good habits. Don't just, because you're on a team that's 3-14, don't play like that. Practice good habits, because it can all change fast. It can change this year. It can change next year, but you have to build good habits. And if you don't build good habits, then the habits that you build become who you are. And they have a lot of young talent. Kevin Porter, KPJ is incredible. Jalen Green is incredible. Jabari Smith is incredible. They have a lot of young talent. And, they can be really good down the line. But when you're on a team that's struggling, you see a lot of young guys come in this league and they just play the wrong way. And then they finish their career playing the wrong way, then you end up in a much different position than you should be in later on in your career, because you built bad habits in the first 2 or 3 years of your career. So I just say to those young guys and challenge them to try to do everything the right way. I know they're being taught the right way, so just practice that, because in the long run, that's what's going to change this from a losing team to a winning team, a losing young, talented team to a winning veteran team.
Impacting the game without necessarily scoring the ball, and Tari Eason came in, made a pretty big impact. He did score the ball. What did you see from him coming off the bench like that?
He was incredible. He made all the hustle plays. He was incredible off the bench. KJ was incredible off the bench. Both of those guys made hustle plays, came over loose balls. They got to the rim. I think they both knocked the 3 or 2 down. They really played well. But I like Tari. He's finding his way in this league. And it's guys like that stick and become somebody in this league. Not not worried about what can I do for myself, coming in and doing all the dirty work. And every team needs that. It's going to be great to see him grow in that role and continue to stick to that, because if he does, he'll have a long career in this league because every team needs it.
JP was just 3 for 8 tonight, 36 points a couple nights ago. Phoenix, no field goals, but tonight, it sounded like he was the loudest voice in the locker room celebrating the win. What's it demeanor kind of been like through the highs and lows?
You really just try to stay consistent, regardless of who you are and what you're going through. Sometimes for some guys, it's tougher than others. With him, we're still trying to figure that second unit out that can weigh on you, and so you just want to stay consistent. And, I think he's doing a good job. Like I said before, he's figuring it out. It's a totally new role for him. And, he's doing what he has to do to figure it out. And, it's on us to continue to help him with that.
All right, so Draymond Green there following the Warriors' win in Houston tonight. Road win number 1, 127-120. Most telling quote, I think, from Draymond Green, and we've talked a lot about this over the last 48 hours, and it's the fact that Draymond, it sounds like, called out Klay to his face. And you look at the audio that we just played, and Draymond, I've always said on Klay, he's the most competitive guy that I've ever played with, and the most important thing to him has always been winning. At times, we all get away from who we are. In a brotherhood, you need somebody to bring you back to who you are. And the other part of this that preceded that was he's not worried about what happens with Klay. He's worried about what happens with the team. When Klay worries about what happens with this team, Klay plays great and we win. If that's not a statement that Klay was being selfish, and I think his play would clearly show you that he was being selfish to the point where teammates were visibly frustrated with him. Like that's what the one thing that does kind of drive me nuts here is Klay has a game like he did tonight. He has a real nice game on Friday night, and the conversation immediately shifts toward, the trolls. What were the trolls saying? Klay made the point, and we'll play it, so I should probably hold off here until we do play it, that he let the trolls get in his head. And to me, it's like, no, man, I give you credit for making the adjustment. You played the last 2 games differently in terms of process than you had been up until this season. It sounds like Draymond basically told him he was being selfish and to bring it back to the team and everything will be fine and you'll get back on track doing it that way. And it sounds like Klay took it to heart and moved forward and made the adjustment. And because he changed his process, the results have followed. That's how this thing plays out. This isn't about, Klay was always going to do it, and if you were upset that he wasn't doing it or you thought that he wasn't this or that, you were wrong. No, Klay was playing not the right way. And the last couple of games, he's played much closer to the right way. And because of that, he's been rewarded, and the Warriors team has been rewarded with a couple of victories. Plain and simple. I don't want to hear the next couple of days, and I'm going to be in for Guru all week here on 95.7 The Game, but I don't want to hear this is about the trolls. This is about the people that were criticizing Klay. They're not real Warrior fans. Get out of here with all of that. That's a bunch of nonsense. All right, let's hear from Klay Thompson, man of the hour tonight from Houston. The 41-point performance, 10 of 13 from 3, and Klay Thompson addressed everything surrounding this one.
You were on Instagram last week and you tweeted a picture of yourself and promised your followers that the floodgates were going to open soon. Yeah. I think you're shooting like 56% over these last 2 games. Do you feel like the floodgates are beginning to open, or are they swung wide open?
Well, when you hit 10 threes, I can confidently say they're open, and it's just something for me to build on. I've been really wanting a game like this, so it felt great to just let that thing fly and play with a free mind.
41 points for you, 33%. How do you feel for both of you to be getting going at the same time?
Set to getting going all season long, so it felt good to help him a little bit, and it just felt good to have a big game, man. I'm my harshest critic, so the first 10 games of the season weren't easy for me. So to come out and be myself again. It felt incredible. And like I said, it's just something for me to build on and keep going.
You guys been Daniel, how much did you credit? Do you feel like your lows this season have been criticized?
No, I don't care anymore. I really let the trolls get to me. Like, what am I doing? Like I had just a revelation where I was like, man, like just be you and everything will play out, and criticize me all you want. But I know how great I am and what I'm capable of. And I think real Warrior fans know that as well.
Kind of take us through the energy in that locker room right now. How you feeling your first game of the season?
Well, one more game closer to 500, which is not the best record, but at least we got that freaking thing off our back, and it's just something to build on, like I said. And we built this dynasty off winning road games, and I know we will get back to doing that.
Like these are going to see from the young Rockets team tonight.
I mean, they're so young, man. Like I'm looking at those guys, I'm like, man, like they already got used in the league, and they're younger than Steph and Dre and I were at this point in their careers. So they're very talented, and you just got to be patient if you're a fan of the Rockets, because, I mean, they had an incredible 2010s with James and CP and that team. And his team can obviously build something, but, I mean, they're all very talented. It's crazy playing against Kenyon Martin Jr. I swear I played against his dad my rookie year, so that made me feel kind of aged, but they love John Lucas too, man. He's really a legend.
Obviously, when it comes to these road losses that you guys built up this year, closing out games in the fourth quarter has been one of the big struggles.
Mm-hmm.
What would be different for you guys tonight?
We got great shots. We rebounded better down the stretch. I think they were killing us on the boards all night. Steph made an incredible dagger shot. That rainbow was in just what he does, and it was cool to hear the crowd react the way they did, because, I mean, everyone comes for a show when the Warriors are in town, and I think he kind of solidified that showmanship with that shot. I was even like, wow, that's incredible.
Any idea if you put it on?
I'm not sure. It's up to the training staff, but me, I love to hoop, but I trust them. They've got us to a championship last year. And
yeah, so Klay Thompson trusting the trainers and the physician staff and all of that as to what will happen for tomorrow night. But I think we've pretty much all but been told that he's probably not going to play in any of these back-to-backs over the course of the season. Steve Kerr hinting at that a couple of weeks ago. We'll see if something changes, but at this point, giving Klay a couple of nights before coming back at home, and what an ovation he'll get off of these last couple of games when the Warriors do return to the Chase Center hardwood on Wednesday and take on the LA Clippers. All right, one quick phone call before we call it a night. We got to get Ricky in Boston in here to finish things up on Warriors Wrap-Up. Ricky, you get the final word tonight, my brother. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for giving me the last word. Listen, real quick, before I get to my Klay point, did Steve say that Wiggins' defense needs to step up a little bit? Did I hear that right?
He did. There were two, yes, I failed to. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I've been watching the games. I got the NBA League Pass, so, Warriors and the Pelicans are actually my two favorite teams. And, I think I said it the other night, Wiggins' defense this season hasn't been that good, man. But, yeah, it could improve. But back to Klay. Listen, I'm a huge Klay Thompson fan, and I'm happy for him. But I want this to, be a progress of more consistent play from him. It doesn't have to be 40 nights. It could be 16, 18 points, but, just, basically don't go back to the Klay Thompson that we just watched the last previous 10 games. You know what I mean? Let's just build on this. Let's build from the Knicks game, the Rockets game. Let's just keep building. Get your confidence back. Not every night has to be a 40-point night, Klay. Man, we know that you're great. And, when Klay's great, the Warriors are great. Thank you, John, for having me. Go Warriors.
Yeah, exactly right. It's about the process. Sometimes playing the way that he played on Friday night and the way that he played tonight will add up to 20. Sometimes it'll add up to 40. But if you play more patiently, keep the ball moving, don't feel like you got to shoot your way out of every miss into two more makes. If you do that, the games like tonight are going to come. The games like tonight, you can't go aim for a game like tonight. It just has to happen when you're in a rhythm and you're hot and you're able to figure things out. Yes, and that's a good pull by our guy Ricky on something that I didn't mention coming off of the Steve Kerr press conference. Yeah, he was a little critical of Wiggins' defense not being maybe at the level that it needed to be. But I think overall the starters collectively haven't played defense at the level that they did a year ago. And I've sort of put that on championship hangover. But the truth is, because Andrew Wiggins is still, a 27-year-old player, and by comparison, one of the younger players of the Warriors championship core now, he's somebody they need to lean on almost to help guide them through, because some of the older players maybe don't have it as much or as consistently at that level on the defensive end. All right, that'll do it. Quick turnaround. Appreciate a lot of good phone calls tonight here on Warriors Wrap-Up, so appreciate that. Some text messages as well. Quick turn for the Dubs. Back in action tomorrow as they'll take on the Pelicans. 5 o'clock for that one. Warriors live at 4. As Damon and Ratto, we're going to have that for you here on 95.7 The Game. And then I'm back with Warriors Wrap-Up afterwards right here. So keep it locked at 95.7 The Game. And then I'm going to be in with Steiny tomorrow and all week from noon to 3 as well. So thanks to Sterling. Thanks to everybody in our studios here in San Francisco. I'm John Dickinson. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Warriors finally off the schneid on the road, 127-120 over the Rockets. And you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game. Good night.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
Dell Technologies Black Friday event has arrived with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 50% off select performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
The best part about taking ZQuil Pure Z's Sleep Plus Next Day Energy at night is actually the next morning. I wake up alert with none of the grogginess from taking too much melatonin. Pure Z Sleep Plus Next Day Energy is a bilayer